Hello everybody and welcome back here to the channel at Prijs Novice. In today's episode we're going to expand a little bit on a previous episode which you can find somewhere up here. We are going to talk about some financial mistakes that people make and specifically the mistakes they make with their money, not necessarily their investments, as in the previous episode. So stay tuned. So much like the case with the previous episode where we discussed the fact that if you have to check into your brokerage account very often and you're very interested in knowing the ups and downs, and obviously depending on what type of investor you are, that might be a symptom of you having either overbought, you have put too much money into the market that you're not actually comfortable with, or you have bought investments that you aren't sure about. Much the same case happens when we talk about paying yourself first, one of the cornerstones of investing. Putting money aside for yourself, and if you can't do that, chances are a few things are going on. Number one, guys, so one of the more common mistakes that people make, and we see this all over the world, is living paycheck to paycheck. The fact that you don't have any money to invest in yourself means that all the money you bring in, it goes straight out. From a philosophical standpoint, consider the fact that you can choose to either pay with the work you've put in your past, or you can pay with what you promise your performance will be in the future. You get a paycheck and you divvy up the money, and some goes to bills and some goes to paying yourself. The money you have already made, you can't change the past. The money you've already made, you have now put to work for you. You are making your money into more money by investing it. If you, however, are the type of person that think, oh, well, I can have everything in my life on payments, whether it be through credit card or what have you, whatever financial system, you are in effect promising and giving away your future. And because we can't tell the future, I don't think that's a very healthy or safe even thing to do. I always do a little mental calculation. So for example, a monthly cost that I have is paying back my student loans. Many of you guys probably have a student loan as well. The amount that I pay back every month equals to about one full working day. And I'm in my car and I'm on my way to work, and I think to myself, all right, today is the day that I work to pay back my debt. And if you think about it, if you have car payments, you have a mortgage, if you're very well off and you've invested for a long time and you understand the concept of paying yourself, maybe you are at a point where 50% of your paycheck goes to payments and the rest is discretionary spending, food, clothing, vacations. But typically speaking, more than 90% of the paycheck that people receive goes straight out the door because of payments. Number two, guys, gambling. Okay? In my opinion, there is perhaps an argument can be made that there is a difference between gambling and betting. Some people, they manage to make money off of betting. You could study the teams, you can, if you're a huge fan, I'm not saying don't bet money, but be very careful. However, gambling, no. Straight out the door. Never gamble, guys. The simple fact is, casinos are there to make money off of you, the players. We have these online casinos. You get a sign-up bonus, free spin. If you sign up with this much money, you get this much money in bonus. How is it you think they can afford to pay out a bonus to all of these people signing up for the first time? They make money. If something seems cheap or good, chances are that you are the product. Number three, guys, another mistake that we sometimes see. Some people are savvy with money. They put money aside. They make sure their payments are a small part of whatever they bring in. But the money that they keep, they just leave it. They just have it in a bank account with some interest, 1%. Here in early 2018 where, you can't find any bank account with more than, let's say, 1% interest. And even then, you have to tie up your money for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. For 1%, guys, we have an inflation of 2%. You are losing money. Don't just put your money aside in a bank account and leave it there. Yes, there are times when cash is literally king, right? During a period of deflation where money becomes more valuable, then you want to have cash. You don't really make any money off of just having money sitting around. Now, if you have a lot of money, you have a big pot just sitting in a bank account, consider starting to invest. Consider starting putting that money to work for you. You don't have to make it super complicated. The most important thing when investing is that you yourself are comfortable. And if you can be comfortable with having lots of money in your account, that's fine. But be aware that this money is not going to make you any more money. It's just going to sit there, and in fact you are losing purchasing power due to inflation. Make something with your money. Invest it in index funds, low-cost index funds. Buy a house and rent it out to somebody, or figure out a way to make your money into more money. That is super, super important, you guys. Number 4, guys, tobacco, nicotine, caffeine, products that are, for all intents and purposes, completely legal. Yeah, you have coffee and Red Bull, you have cigarettes and snus or chewing tobacco. Try to stay away from these. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I myself, I use snus, right? The Swedish, in America, I believe it's called snuff. I use that, okay? So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, oh, don't do it. But consider, these products and the companies that make them are typically super profitable. They have been around for hundreds of years. I mean, tobacco, or caffeine for that matter, coffee. They charge a high premium. Tobacco isn't super expensive, and I mean caffeine or the energy drinks, Monster, Red Bull, whatever, but they sell at a huge premium, and these companies make tons of money on us, the consumers, and we get addicted to them. Try to stay away, guys. Oh, who's this guy on YouTube telling me to quit smoking? I've been smoking for so many years. Calculate in your budget, how much money do you spend on cigarettes, tobacco, coffee? And for example, if you really need caffeine, coffee, don't go and buy a Red Bull, make coffee at home. At least it's cheaper that way. Going to Starbucks, paying whatever, $5, $6, $10 for a big coffee, you could make that at home for a quarter of the price. Just buy a coffee maker. It's not that difficult, right? Try to save money on things that are addictive. And on top of that, I would like to add alcohol. I myself, I don't drink. I used to. Not super much or not super little either. I had a healthy relationship with alcohol, like most people. 2 years ago, actually, I started decreasing heavily. And in fact, over the last year, if we go back to, March, April of 2017, I've been drunk once. All right, so I try to really stay away from it. It dulls the mind, and actually it costs a lot of money, especially if you're the type of person who, let's go out with the friends and drink every weekend. It's a lot of money, guys. All right, that's it for today's episode. Again, this was more of an expansion on a previous episode where we talked about mistakes people make when investing, and this is more of the mistakes people make with their money. As always, guys, leave a like down below, comment, subscribe. Let us know, what do you make with your money? How are you putting your money to work? What mistakes are you making?